All right, guys, welcome to another Car Chronicles. So, I've been following this story and these last couple of days, and the homeowner, has her property back. And I'm quite sure by this time the tenant is out of it and everything because they just posted. And I've talked about that in the previous video that I had. But I got a question for y'all. Let's say, what would you do if you knew if that was one of your relatives and you knew this is what they did? Would you say something to them? Or you'd be like, nah, that ain't none of my business. If you knew that you have a relative, because some of us got them relatives. We got them relatives out there that do all kind of things and do stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? Would you say something to them or would you stay out of it? You know what I'm saying? Would you go to the police or would you try to help the person get their property back, or would you make a comment about it, or would you be silent? I want to hear from y'all because it's embarrassing too. I mean, that you got a relative, especially people know that's your relative, and they out there with it. Because when the news people come with stories like this, they gonna find out everything, not everything, everything. You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And some people already know that they're related to her. They're not gonna necessarily blame you. And it can be a little bit embarrassing when you got a family member out there doing stuff they ain't got no business doing, because we all have one. But in this situation, would you back your relative, and you know good and well they lying, you know good and well what they do, you know good and well they ain't supposed to be there? Would you back your relative because they're your relative? Or would you be somebody to say, you wrong for that, you need to stop doing that, get out of the people's house, you have no business, you have no right? Would you stand behind them in truth, or would you stand behind them and telling them keeping up with the lie? I want to hear from y'all because I'm just curious, about that. Like, I wonder what her family thinks, and some of the people that, like the guy that picked her up, I don't know who he is. And in one of the videos, when they leave the courthouse, the guy's taking her, she's riding with a guy. And then I think it was somebody, I know she had a younger child, but it was somebody else that came to her house. Looked like they were an adult, if I'm not mistaken, and everything like that. But I'm quite sure, I know she has family and friends, and of course, they don't have control over what she does, what she does not do. We don't have any control over grown people, you dig? But I'm just curious about, what would you say or do if you had a family member that you knew was doing this type of thing to people throughout the city? Your thoughts. This is Car Chronicles. Until next time, later.